all, gamers? It's your boy Peter Plays Games, and today I'm going to be experimenting a little bit. Now, as many of you know, I mainly upload gameplay on this channel.
I heard something. Don't think I didn't hear something. I heard something drop near me. Oh, there it is. Oh crap!
No, sir. Not today. What I'm going to be doing is scientifically determining the next fighter for Super Smash Brothers. Let's get right into it. So as many of you know, we are in the first DLC pack for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The fighters so far have been the bonus character, Piranha Plant, from the Mario Bros. Series, Joker from the Persona series, Hero from the Dragon Quest series, and Banjo-Kazooie from the Banjo-Kazooie series, and the newest announced, but not yet released, Terry Bogard from the Fatal Fury series. Now, there's this one image making the rounds around the internet. It is this image, which is on screen right now. It has a section for Japan, the US, and the EU, and it shows, it's a little nice graphic, on the most anticipated characters in each region, I guess you could say. So for example, Lloyd is the most wanted in Japan, Sora is the most wanted in the US and the EU. Now, what I did here is I gave each place a point. Now, for example, Lloyd, since he is number 1, he gets 10 points. But Sora, since he is in second in Japan, first in the US, and first in the EU, that means he gets 29 points. So first place, 10 points. Second place, 9 points. Third place, 8 points, and so on and so forth. But that's not all, folks. We also have to kind of theorize about which region each fighter has been pleasing. For example, Piranha Plant, he wasn't specifically for Japan or the US. He was kind of just a throw-out character because no one really wanted him, you know? But Joker, he was kind of appealing towards both the US and Japan because he's not specifically more popular. Maybe more popular in Japan, but he wasn't very much asked for in either. But Hero, for example, Hero was really wanted in Japan, but not much cared for in the US. But Banjo-Kazooie was mainly wanted in the West, and a little bit the EU, but not really as big as it was in the US. So, what about Terry Bogard? Now, not many people know this, but the Neo Geo, from which Terry was born from, I guess you could say, was really popular in South and Latin America. Now, this means that Terry was kind of a push towards that market, which isn't really, catered to in Smash Brothers. So I thought that was really unique, and not many people know that. So people are like, oh, Terry's wasting a slot. But he really isn't. He's for the people in Latin and South America. Now, you might have noticed I didn't really talk about the EU, except when, of course, I was talking about Banjo, but once again, it was more for the US. Now, the EU has been kind of overlooked in our new DLC fighters. They were mainly catered to when Bayonetta was announced, because she was really requested in Europe, from what I remember at least. But if we look at our little graphic again, we see that there are mainly the top 5. Let's just go through the top 5. Sora, Steve, Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, and Doomslayer. 5 from the EU. Now, if we look at the US and don't look at Japan, it's pretty similar. You have Sora, Crash, and Steve all in there. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be so mad at Gino or Shantae. Or Doomslayer, who's 6 for the US, but he is 5 for the EU. Now, we're focusing more on regions right now, but there's also another point to be considered. That does it really matter which region it comes from? Because it should be more of a Think of it like electoral college in the US or just a purely democratic vote. Which is more important? Do you want representation from regions or do you want representation of the people? I think that's a very valid argument. So I put together this spreadsheet, which you'll see on screen right now, of all of the fighters that have been requested. So you'll see here that if we organize them by the amount of points they had, which I mentioned earlier in the video, Sora has 29, Crash has 17, Steve has 15, Gino 12, Doomslayer 11, and you can see the rest. And I think this is really important. Maybe the last fighter will not be for a specific region, but instead more for the people, in which case Crash, Sora, or Steve should be really considered. But you also see a correlation between the top 3 in the EU and the top 3 just around the world. This is why I'm almost certain, or I'm like, let's say 99% certain, that the next DLC fighter and the first Fighters Pass will be on the Europe list. It will either be Sora, Steve, Crash, Rayman, Doomslayer, Gino, Heavy, which is I don't see happening, but whatever, Agumon, Dante, or Jibanyan, who has been in some of my videos. Let's just not talk about that right now. But you just see this crazy correlation between the Europe's, like what Europe wants, and what most of the Smash community wants. The only fighter I can see people being mad about is either Steve or Heavy, but I don't see many people being mad about Heavy. We'll get to Steve later, though. So this is why I'm going to whittle it down to the top 3 in Europe, Sora, Crash, Steve, which also happen to be the top 3 from all the points. So that's really interesting. Sora, Steve, and Crash. You see a lot of people requesting all of these. Now, let me make an argument here. I don't think Sora will be the next fighter in Super Smash Bros. Now, let me explain why I think this. Sora is partly owned by Disney, and I don't think Disney is in the position at the moment and last year, because they have been in copyright trouble with Spider-Man, for example, and I don't think they want to give up another character for Smash Brothers. I think it's too risky for them. I just don't see Disney doing that. They almost got Spider-Man kicked out of the MCU, which didn't happen, thankfully, but that almost happened. I don't think Nintendo is going to take Sora. He's also Sora, that is. He's also half Final Fantasy, and we already have Final Fantasy representation in Smash Brothers. So that leaves down to 2 characters, Steve and Crash. Steve from Minecraft and Crash Bandicoot from Crash Bandicoot. I already have who I think will be picked out, but let's go through arguments for both. First off, Crash. Crash Bandicoot is one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. He is the head front for the Sony PlayStation. He has been on multiple Nintendo consoles. He's been on the Wii, the DS, he's been on the Switch most recently, which a lot of people bought. Also, he's a retro character. So, there you go, retro character. We need retro characters, or at least I don't need them, but a lot of people do. Next, Steve from Minecraft, a great choice. Now, Steve is an indie game, the best-selling game of all time. Could have a crazy unique moveset, and people love Steve, and it would bring a lot of kids to the game, a lot of kids to buy him. But there are also bad sides to both. Crash Bandicoot, we already got a retro character in the form of Banjo, and I don't really see another retro character being in this Fighters Pass. Excuse me. But also with Steve, it could be kind of hard to animate, which has been refuted by Game & Watch, which I agree with, so I think that's a dumb argument. But also, we already have Microsoft representation. So it's really hard to choose between Crash and Steve. But personally, I think and drumroll please. I think Steve will be the next DLC fighter for Smash Bros. Now, you might be like, Steve? What, you lunatic? I'm unsubscribing. But no, Steve is really a great choice. He's a great choice. He is this amazing indie character. And so many people love him. Minecraft is at its peak right now, and there's no better time to bring him in. But we do have a Microsoft rep. But also, that was more of a rare thing. So I really see him as a giant possibility for the next DLC fighter. But even if he doesn't, Crash is really close second. Crash, it's either Crash or Steve, those two. And if it's not, I don't know. I'll decide what I do. But top two. If Steve gets it, Crash doesn't, Crash will be a fighter. I can guarantee that. And if Crash doesn't, Steve will be a fighter. I can guarantee that. Because they're both such amazing characters. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want more analysis, gameplay, and Let's Plays. Don't forget to have a swanky day. Thank you. Hey guys, I'm doing end cards now. I'm talking with them. You'll see the sweet new end card. I don't know what it's going to be yet at recording this video, but I'm pretty sure it looks tight. I just want to say sorry for being gone for so long. I had homecoming. Here's some of my pictures. I'll throw them up on the screen right now. So that was fun. I went on my first date on Friday, so I've been really caught up with school, and finals week is coming up, but this fall, I'm on fall break right now, so I want so much time to make videos. I already have one planned coming out either Friday, because it'll be recorded tomorrow when this video is coming out, hopefully. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and let's just let the music say goodbye. Bye.